Okay, so here we are. If you remember, I had my last video, I talked about some meters that I bought. Well, there's one of them. I'm going to be making a little box for this, or getting a plastic box or something. The reason I wanted this meter was the 950 here, 970, 950, 970. Hey, give me a break. Very interesting. This meter, or this analyst, has basically a VOM in it, volt ohm milliamp meter, which is pretty cool. But like any meter, you can't do current and voltage readings at the same time. So what I wanted to do was, I'm working on transistor radios. I like to watch the milliamp draw so I can tell what's going on with the radio. Yes, you can set the voltage over here. You can set the voltage. It's got voltage steps. They're pretty close. Again, this was designed to run on 115. My voltage here right now is 120. It runs between 120 and 125. I have where is it? Right over here. Got an RCA meter that I kind of monitor the line voltage. Anyway, getting back to this. What I want to do is be able to watch the voltage here and watch the current. Watch the current with this meter. And again, the way this is set up, I can do that now. Again, this will look a little bit better once I'm done, but if I turn this on, I'm monitoring my voltage, which is 6 volts. It reads about 5.5. Okay. 5, 6. No, it's right on 6. And if I put a resistor, let's see. If I put a resistor, I should have had this ready, but let's see. I don't know what I'm grabbing here. It's a 33 or a 30 ohm. 30 ohm resistor. 30 ohm resistor, you can see the current. Maybe you can't. You can see the meter is indicating. Okay. So now when I'm working on a transistor radio, I know what my voltage is coming in, and I know what my current draw is on the transistor radio. So that's one of the reasons I wanted this, and I'll eventually show it to you once I get the box made up. It's probably going to sit up in this area someplace. Not quite sure, but I'll fit it in here somewhere. Someplace where I can see the actual current draw. Anyway, that's what that's all about. And in a minute, we'll get into this Eico transistor radio. It's the model RA-6. I did find the schematic for it. Like I said on my last video, I always like to have a schematic. Okay, so I'm going to start working on this now. Yeah, I just want to make sure I can get you guys in focus here. Look, I'm not a videographer, so you got to deal with me a little bit here. Okay. If I kick the stand, don't get seasick. What I need is, I have no way of seeing what's on screen. Okay, that's pretty good. I don't know how to fix this. If anybody has any ideas or suggestions on how to fix this, I mean, this is, crappy, some type of thin leather over the top of cardboard. It's all cracked. It's all cracked here. I mean, I'm going to try real easy. This snap is unsnapped, that's unsnapped. Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do to get this open without damaging it any further. This is yeah, look at this. This is very brittle. And this is going to fall off. Sorry, but I'm going to need to get into it. All right. Just want to hold that open. Okay, you can see inside there. It's supposed to take a 9-volt battery. That's a big 9-volt battery. That's the old 9-volt batteries that were used, not the newer style. You can see it wouldn't fit. The new one would just fall apart in there. All right, so let's hook this up. The wide one is the minus, or is it the plus? Yeah, it's the plus. I always get that confused. Okay, let's come up to 9 volts. No current draw. All right. Is it turned on? No, looks like something's shorted. Wow, yeah. Something is definitely shorted in there, so I don't know if you saw it or not. But the current draw went way up over 200 milliamps. A radio like this, it's actually rated. If you look on here, no signal is supposed to be 10 milliamps or 20 milliamps with a normal volume. This jumps right to 200. So something is shorted. Let's get it out. Let's get it out of the chassis, find out what's going on. I'll pull the knobs. Okay. Pull this knob off. Get this out of the way. And let's see. The old cardboard and everything has shrunk around it, I think. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't know if you saw that. First of all, the speaker isn't even connected to anything. Jeez Louise. That's the long side. I better take it out of the short side. Okay. All right. Now let's see what we've got here. I'll make sure you guys are still in. Got black tape. I guess somebody put that in there to keep it from shorting. It's not mounted to anything. Speaker's disconnected. All right, let's put this beauty aside. There were no screws holding it in anymore. Let's see what we can do. Speaker's got a couple little spots in them, probably from rattling around in there. Maybe that's what was shorting out. Let's go back on here. Let's go here. Okay. Must have been shorting against the speaker, just laying up underneath there. So now there's no current draw. We have our 9 volts. We need a speaker. All right, let me shut this off again for a minute. Get some clip leads. I'll put the speaker over here. Connect this up to the speaker. I got to figure out where this goes. Get you zoomed in a little bit. And this green wire comes out of the transformer. The other one, I believe, would just go to ground. So I'm still not right. This thing should not be drawing 200 milliamps. Something is shorted. Well, now we're down. Yeah, that's good for it. So we're drawing right now about 15 milliamps. Got a little crinkle out of the speaker. It's a nice tuning. It's playing. The volume is all the way up though. Okay.
Democrat of somewhere, maybe Texas. I know she said something stupid. That's the way it
I don't
goes.
know if you can
Usually half of cable news is
see in
perpetually
here.
outraged over what somebody said.
Point to something.
Oh my gosh, somebody said something.
If you
Somebody said something on a podcast. Okay, we should fire that person. Let's wait, something else happened. Hey, Lauren joins us.
down in here,
Lauren,
it looks like a
how long have you been
dog
interning
bone
at
resistor.
WABC?
I started this year in
But
June,
these
but I
are
was here last
actually,
year from May to
I
the
call
end
them
of August.
dog bone
May to the
capacitors.
end of August. That's one hell of a. You didn't just come
Don't
for 2
mistake
weeks.
these
No, I was here
for
for a while.
resistors.
We
The reason I know that is because I had looked at the schematic and the paperwork that's involved, and there are two. I don't know if you can see them. You're not going to be able to see this too well. But these two that I marked here basically just says 7 and 5%. So that's those two. Gotta be. All right. So it's playing.
Social media here, I think, a bit of an oomph, a bit more oomph,
I
right?
think if you going on the social media
I'm going to
pages
have to
would be a
start
great
checking
thing.
capacitors.
Yeah,
We've got two electrolytics
some
here.
more oomph. I love just saying oomph.
Oomph is a good word.
All right, so you're in college. How old are you?
I'm 20. I'll be 21 in October.
It's so interesting.
And there are two electrolytics
It does seem so. You were born in
right here.
2005,
2004.
2004.
Yeah, see it a little bit better. There's two here, but again,
I'm studying media studies and communications.
there's
I would love
a
to go
bodge
into
work
TV
over
journalism,
here.
go into the news world. I want to stay in New York. I feel like New York is where the news is. So I'd love to stay here. I've stayed here. I've lived here my whole life. I'd love to be in New York for the rest of my life.
Really?
Something is shorting, and
You haven't lived anywhere else other
No, I've only ever lived in
current
Staten Island.
draw is jumping up every once in a while. You might hear it popping.
have you spent off of Staten Island?
For some reason,
I have no idea.
this is the.
We go on like one
Whoa.
family vacation
Okay.
a year, so
Okay. All right. Whoa. Somehow, Something all of a sudden shorted again. All right, let me shut the power off. Let me start testing some of these capacitors. Now, if you look at some of the pros, I'm not a pro, I'm only an amateur. I'm also a ham radio operator, and I have my own ESR meter, home built on a design that was in QST magazine. Let me see. See if I can get this in view. For you, view for you. Okay. Turn this on. Yeah, there's a little red light that indicates on. And there's a light up here that'll indicate a short. Okay, I also have to zero the meter. Yeah, just put it together down here. Zero the meter. Well, that doesn't read too bad. This one's pretty dead, 15. Ohms on this one. I'm wondering, this one almost looks like, you can't see it too well. All right, let me get this out of the way again. Move this around. The small one down in here. This one right here. Can't see it too well again. Yeah, this one here. It's 15 ohms. Looking at where it is, almost looks like it goes into the, does that feed the volume control? I don't know. All right, we'll test these two over here. Get in here, do a little testing. This one. That's not bad. This one. And that doesn't look too bad. So, hook the speaker back up again. This radio has been somewhat abused, to say the least. I don't know if you can see it, the chassis is bent over here. The stud, here's two of the studs to mount the speaker. This one is bent, and that's the one that's supposed to be grounded, and it's, for some reason, it doesn't look like it's tightening up. Put some power back on this. Yeah. And something shorted. I'm going to have to do some checking. I'll be back in a minute. I don't want to just keep recording while I'm doing nothing. Okay. So, after poking around, I found, wires, where are we here? Wires that are melted. This one here, this one here is think was one of the ones that was shorting. I found leads touching that weren't supposed to be touching here, all over. Just, I don't usually complain about somebody's workmanship when they're building something. If this was the first thing they ever built, hopefully he learned from it. There's a no solder over here, cold solder joints over here. So it's going to need a lot of work. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. You can see the current draws back down. Only 10 milliamps. That's the volume is all the way up. So let's shut this off. You don't need to watch me change a capacitor. I'm going to do that. See if I have one, and see if that helps the volume. Okay, so I do have the volume up a little bit. I mean, it's turned up all the way at this point.
It's almost rare, and he wasn't from New York. It's almost rare.
It almost sounds, I've got some squealing as I tune. I've also cleaned all of the, let me turn this down a little bit. I've also cleaned all of the sockets for the transistors. When I pulled the transistor out, the legs were black from corrosion. So I did a little WD-40, cleaned those, didn't make a difference. But now I've got the volume.
It doesn't happen that way. There's only one.
You can
There's
see
only one Beyonce. And
it's up to 15 to 20 milliamps, which is getting close to what it should be. Next thing I'm going to do is, if you listen, you're going to hear squealing. Yeah. I got a feeling that's the AVC filter, bad. Let me turn the volume down again. And I believe that's this one here. It's this one here. So I'm going to take a minute. That's a 40 microfarad at 10 volts. I probably don't have one of those, but I'll see what I can put in there. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. A day or two have gone by. I paused it. I had other work to do. I got back to this. I found that the volume was very low. I'm going to get into that. The volume is still very low, but not as low as it was. These are all socketed transistors. The leads were all corroded. Cleaned them off, picked up the volume a little bit. Then I went in and I replaced the electrolytic caps. There's stuff missing here. If you look back, there's parts missing. And I'll explain why. Like I said, I replaced the electrolytics. Okay. And going through this, again, this was Eico. Pretty sure it was a kit. This was not made in a factory environment. And I'm really not trying to criticize anybody, but there were leads touching, shorting out. It was just driving me crazy. So now I'm in the process. I've stripped off all the parts. Here's the new parts. This one's something else. Here's the new parts. And I'm going to reinstall, again, this is germanium transistor, right here. I took it out of the socket because heat can destroy germanium transistors. So I'm going to get that back in, get it all wired, and continue to work. Caps, I've disconnected some caps because I was trying to find out why the current was so high. Still not sure. I've got a somewhere's in here, there's a bad component. You can see I replaced one resistor over here. I mean, if you look close, there's caps that are cut out. The radio didn't play any better or any worse with them out. So bad solder joints, cold solder joints. If you look down in here, big globs of solder. Parts are, it's just bad. So I'm in there. I'm probably going to wind up rewiring this whole thing, replacing 3 of the 4 caps that I took out of, or resistors that I took out of here. They were all extremely high in value. So I just decided to go in and start replacing them. All right, let me get this rewired in here. And I did draw a little schematic so I know where everything goes. Can't leave it to memory. I don't care how old you are. You can't leave something like that to memory. So now I know where all the parts are going to go. All right? And I'll be back when I get this thing wired. Okay, so I got all these parts replaced down in here. Audio, I corrected all of the touching wires, and you can see I put heat shrink tubing on. Okay, but the audio was still low, and then it eventually faded out. I could absolutely get nothing. I then looked, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but the one, I don't know here, one leg on the transistor is broke off. So I'm now on the hunt for either a 2N362 germanium or some type of a replacement. I don't have a supply myself. I got a few germaniums, but this is the driver transistor. So without this, we're dead in the water. So I'm going to need to see what I can do to find a replacement. Hopefully I might have something in my box of old transistors that'll work. Don't know if I can rebias it to use a silicon, but silicon, not silicone, silicon transistor. I got corrected for saying it wrong one day, so I try to be correct. All right, that's where we're at. I do get when I'm using this, I get audio all through the stages, but no output. So we'll work on this and be right back. Okay, while I'm trying to find a suitable transistor for here, either a direct replacement or rebiasing a silicon transistor, that's going to take some time. What I want to do is jump over to the case. Now this case is falling apart. Yeah, this is like, what's that old saying? Making a silk purse out of a sow's ear, pig's ear or something. You can see it's in bad shape. But my thought process is I've got some heavy black material. Get the light down in here, and I get it glued in there. It's not in there all the way, but okay. Get it glued in there and get some glue down in there, some rubber cement. Maybe that'll work. At least when it folds, it won't fall apart. Oops, sorry. So I'm going to give that a try. I am going to shut the camera off while I'm doing this. Maybe not. Let me get it on a tripod. Okay, so what I'm going to try using is this Wellwood contact cement. It dries pretty good, but it leaves a flexible bond, which hopefully will allow this to open and close properly. I'm laughing because I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm going to give it a shot because this POS radio has got to have a new life here. So I'm going to try to give it to it. So let's see what we can do. I'd love to be able to hold this open. Let's see if I put, that's not big enough. All right, let me see. Yeah, this might work. I've got these heat sinks that I use on germanium transistors and parts to keep them from overheating. That'll hold that up. And meanwhile, let me get in get in here with the glue. Get the glue down in there too. Yeah, we're gonna glue this baby up. You can see I'm definitely sloshing the glue in. I want to make sure. Ooh, this stuff stinks too. I should know. I've used it before. Not to do this, but we'll see how this works out. All right, I got the glue down in there. Now let's see. Got to get this inside. Okay, that's pretty good. We'll glue that down. All right. All right, that's glued down. Yeah, just gotta move it in there all the way. Get it in there all the way. And hopefully the radio will go back in after I do this, because it was tight coming out. It's definitely gonna be tight going in. Now I gotta get some glue on this part. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's get this glue going here. Yeah. Let's see. All right. All right. We'll give this a chance to dry. Give this a chance to dry. Let that glue soak up into the cloth. I'm actually going to close this up a little bit so that it makes that fold. All right. Yeah, that's pulling apart. Well, don't know what I'll do on the outside here, but now that that's up, what's it look like down in there? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty good. But this has to stay down. Got some clamps. I'll do a little clampy. All right. Now let's see. Okay, and I'll put a clamp to clamp it down. Yeah, I know, these are woodworking clamps, but what the heck. use what you've got. I'm just going to leave it clamped to the bench. And hopefully when I open this up, I'll give this time to dry. We'll be good to go, and I don't know what I'm going to do out here. But there we go. We got it clamped, top and bottom. And hopefully that works, because I still have to do the top flap. All right, let's see. Moving right along. Okay, so we're back. This has been a few days since I recorded the last segment. One of the things is I did find a transistor for the audio output. If you remember from earlier, one of the legs, I'll show it to you again, one of the legs broke off the transistor. Now, I don't know if that was originally the problem. Okay, so I found a transistor that'll work. I have my audio generator on. I can drive plenty of audio through it. Okay. All right. I also found, I'll turn this off, get this out of here. I just wanted to show you that the audio section's working. I also found that the detector diode was bad. I've got this one tacked in temporarily, and it does seem to pass. Okay, so that's got to come out. My problem now is I don't have an oscillator. No oscillator. There's not a lot in the circuit. You've got the coil. You've got 1, 2, 3 components, 2 caps, and a 3900 ohm resistor. The 3900 ohm reads about 37, which is fine. Here's the 2 caps. They appear to be fine. Not sure what the problem is. I may have a bad transistor, but when I test the transistor on my transistor tester, it tests okay, but that doesn't mean it's working properly. All right, so I'm going to be replacing some caps here. Some of these were open, some were shorted. I'm just replacing them with what I have, because this is like this radio isn't worth what I'm putting into it. But I want to get it working. I don't like having a radio that doesn't work. Okay, so I'm gonna start working on replacing some of these caps. The resistors, you know, they're 1K. They read maybe just a hair over the 10% value. But again, that shouldn't stop it from working. Okay, so I'm going to jump over. If you remember, I was also talking about the case. I did put the black material in there. I sealed that up a little bit. No, it's not pretty, but it's better than falling off. I did the same thing with up here. As long as I can get this, all has to be done as well. Yes, I have to re-glue some of this, do some trimming, cut the holes out on the other side so I can put the snap in. And at least I'll be able to snap it shut. You can see that's nasty, but it's better than falling off completely. see where we go from there. All right, let me get to changing some of these caps, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the bench. Here we are. We're working on this little transistor radio. It's the Eico, I forget the model number of it, but it's the Eico transistor radio that I talked about. I do have it working. Let me turn it off here for a minute. You can see it in the background. I do have it up and working. A couple things I just wanted to go over. This video has actually been done over the course of probably 2 weeks in separate little videos on what I did when I had the time to do it. Major renovations were going on the second floor in the house here, and a lot of things had to be done by me to stay on top of everything. So when I could jump down here and work on it, I could, but there's a couple things I want to correct. You're going to hear in the video, on one of the videos, after I splice it all together, that I found that the detector diode was bad. Well, it wasn't bad. That was me. Okay, I messed up on that. I thought it was bad, and it wasn't. There was actually another wire in there shorting it out, and it looked like just a shorted diode. Okay, so that's fine. The detector diode, like I said, is okay. And as you can see, I don't have you on a tripod today. I also talked about what did I talk about? I talked about the oscillator not running. That's also not true. The oscillator was running. Again, that was my mistake. Looking at it and taking a measurement, I looked at the wrong spot and thought the oscillator wasn't running. What it boiled down to get this running was to get a new transistor to replace the driver transistor. Yes, there were a couple caps that were bad that I replaced. One or two were open. Another one was shorted. These were crappy little capacitors, but the ones that are in there now are rated for 600 volts because I'm usually working on tube gear. And that's what I had, and with this thing, I didn't want to spend a fortune trying to get new parts just to make that work. But I did get it working, and it was only receiving one station, one strong station. Wasn't quite sure what it was, so I started looking in. I thought maybe the capacitors were bad inside the IF cans. That wasn't it. And what I found out was it was just way out of tune. I retuned the IF, and the radio's working. And then I also did a little bit of adjustment on the capacitor to bring it to maximum volume, and it's working. Does not have a lot of volume anyway. This was a cheap little radio that you could build. Eico put this out in 1968. I don't know what other years it was produced, but in 1968 it was a kit that you could build, and I think it was $25. 68, $25, So with that, I'm going to get you over here, give you a closer look at it, and try to wrap this video up. All right, as you can see, it was a 9-volt battery, but it was the old style. So this works. I got it wedged in there with a piece of foam. I replaced all of the electrolytics. I believe there were 4 of them. This was the driver transistor. I was able to replace that with a 2N321, I think. I actually got it off of eBay. I had some that I could have used. They didn't work quite as well as this one. And we'll flip it over. Yeah, you can see the caps that I did replace over here as well. And how that actually fits. Now, when I got it, if you remember watching the first video, this thing wasn't even mounted to the radio. It was just floating free in the cabinet. So my next thing is, now that it's working,
University of Pennsylvania. Claire, tell us about California's suit against the Trump administration.
and I'm in my basement. But it's working. Now, let me shut this off. What I now have to do is, yes, you saw that I was putting this cardboard box back together. And I was able to get that glued, and it looks a little rough, but you know, it's better than it falling off. Now I need to get it in there and get it all back together. So just stand by with me here. We'll get that working. Okay, here we are back in the case. Again, this is the Eico model RA-6. I'll zoom in on that. Okay. Like I said, the case is beat on this thing. Case is beat. Does have a vernier tuner on it.
The United States moves his family into the White House. Interesting. Now think of it.
This was more of a resurrection than a restoration. Okay. But there it is, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I apologize for the choppiness of the video. But again, this was done over a period of weeks based on what's going on in my life right now. So as far as construction in the house. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, click like, subscribe, and leave some comments. Always willing to listen to comments.